Live from Liquid Studio Group, it's 3 Men and a Mic with your host, Joe Barron, Gene Belmontes, and the Honorable Javier Montemayor, our closer. 3 minds, 1 mic, 0 filter. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. 3 Men and a Mic starts now.
Welcome back to 3 Men and a Mic with your host, Joe Barron, Javier Montemayor, and Gene Belmontes. We're back after a 2-week hiatus. Jose was out there posting us in Hawaiian shirts, drinking Mai Tais and Pina Coladas everywhere. We were tubing the Guadalupe River
I saw
as
that.
well. And then coming back, we went through TSA. That was an experience.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting.
We took a little break, and now we're going to come back and do youth sports, the good, the bad, and the ugly, part 2.
Part two.
We've got Coach Joel Lopez, Laredo Martin, and Coach David Sanchez, Laredo United, joining us in a few minutes. Week in review, guys. What's happened the last couple weeks since we've been gone?
Football.
Football. Cowboys back at it. Gonna let me down one more year, right?
Oh my.
Golly, those guys. I said I'm gonna hire those guys as my pallbearers so they can let me down one last time.
I think I'm more excited for college football.
Oh yeah.
Well, what's the
looks
difference
tough.
these days? Those guys get paid more than some of the NFL players of the portal. I mean, that's a-
UT's buying them their way to the championships.
I mean, it's just work. It's just competitive, man. You know, I like college football.
I like college
look forward
football
to that.
better.
Yeah, I still think that the college game is still driven by desire, and not by fame and fortune. Right? I just think that more and more college football has become the competitive venue that we all want to watch.
What do you think of the portal?
I'm not a fan. I think once you make a commitment to school. I mean, if you ever watch that movie Mr. Deeds, some guy walks in there, wants more money, and Deeds beats him up. But yeah, I mean, I think once you make a commitment to a team, you've got to stick to it.
Yeah.
I agree.
And it's unfortunate. Well, Coach and I were talking earlier about Texas Tech quarterback who fifth year senior never got a chance to play until the guy breaks an ankle. But that's the luck of the luck of the draw, so to speak. But you stay.
That's the same school where they had a very good quarterback that got into trouble for betting, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Same school that Patrick
Same school.
Mahomes came out of.
There you go.
So,
West Texas.
West Texas.
Guns up.
so a couple of things on my radar. I want to shout out to Richard Rosas and his organization. You know, Laredo won the Pony League World Series.
That's right.
It was very interesting series. The games were very competitive. Bringing that kind of show to Laredo says a lot,
Yeah.
and it also makes us realize how where we need to improve. And I'm hoping that the city gets behind this. They start investing more money, and they start investing more into more infrastructure to help bring these types of competitions to town. But Richard did an outstanding job. The logistics on that alone is extremely
2
difficult.
venues, 18 teams with teams coming from Belgium, Chinese Taipei, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Mexico, France.
Yeah.
All of those coming here. I mean, this is where Laredo's now where the world comes to compete. Hats off to him and all the logistics that he had to put together to get that done.
Yeah.
And again, we were talking about the city. The city did give him money, but that's all they gave him. And oftentimes it requires more.
Yeah.
You need that support at all levels. The hosting events, Laredo's not like San Antonio. It doesn't have a river walk and all these other touristic attractions. So you've got to do it with hospitality.
They need to become vested in this
So
through parks
so
or
you
whatever.
You did Liquid Studios went live, covered.
Right.
Yes.
How did you do with views? How
The numbers are through the roof. We have some analytics that we put together. We haven't published them yet. We're still waiting for the number of hotel nights so that we can juxtapose not just the views that we got worldwide, but also the economic impact that this tournament had. I mean, I say it's going to eclipse the $2 million mark in the amount of economic impact that this tournament did.
hotel, food,
Gas, everything.
And that's probably a minimum. Just What you leave on the table by not investing into this, not building the proper infrastructure, not being ready. There was a softball tournament, from what I understand, that the city had a potential to bring to Laredo with over 200 teams. Apparently that's off the table.
Potentially, I think they're still working out the details and may or may not go forward. But until the city makes that commitment. Now there are other logistics. You can't just. That's not
Well,
just
you
the
got
city.
hotels
The
and you got
hotels
restaurants
and the number of baseball fields, and softball fields. You've got to use every single resource available to us to be able to bring those together. But hats off to Richard and his group and Manolo Rangel, who coached the team. And let me tell you, I had the privilege of calling those games and doing the color and play-by-play. Manolo's team had to come through the elimination bracket to win that championship. So they had that one loss, and they had to come back in.
Which was their very first game, right?
And they won that first game, but it was in that first day that they lost. So they come up through the elimination bracket, and then that Monday they had to play in the morning to earn the right to go and play in the evening. And you had a team that was completely rested, waiting for them, and they still managed to win. So
That's
hats
right,
off
man.
to those
Just the
kids.
talent in Laredo.
Yeah.
So school started. That's the other big thing that's going on. So those all students are going back. We've got football starting this week already. We've got Alexander playing in Los Fresnos. The Tigers. Every team is going to be competing this starting Thursday.
Yeah.
And so we want to wish all the athletes luck. Have a safe game. But it's just exciting. It's kind of like the start of the fall season, the football season. The bands are practicing. You can hear them from our neighborhood, as they're tuning up for practice. It's just an exciting time. Despite all the other ups and downs with the district, this is
Life
an exciting
marches on.
time. Yeah, it's a good.
I think I heard the Alexander girl volleyball team is ranked like 10th or something in the state.
So Alexander, they're ranked. They're in both Alexander United are ranked in the top 100 teams in the state, and so they've got excellent programs. They make it, they make it to the playoffs just about every single season.
I think the big accomplishment right now for the girls was that they won that big tournament in San Antonio.
Yeah.
They beat the number 3 team in the state.
Oh, they're competitive, man.
They're competitive. They're competitive.
One of the things that I do want to say is we've been talking about trying to help the shelter, right? The animal shelter.
The animal shelter.
So there was one thing that keeps popping up on my feed about somebody that had a dog in back of their truck with a bag over its head.
Yeah.
And they had it tied up with
Some electrical
like
cord.
some electrical cord to dispose of the dog, man. And the dog was alive.
Oh yeah, they just opened the gate and tossed him out right there on corner
mean,
of Pine and something down south.
Come on, man.
It's like a healer. It's like a healer type of dog.
Don't do that, man. Like
I saw that.
that's
If you're out there watching and you know who that person is, report him. That's just cruelty to a level that I've not seen before.
no.
So,
Inhumane.
yeah. And elections are around the
yeah.
corner. We've got all the ballots have been laid out, and we know the ballot order. There's 5 running for mayor, and there's all the council races that are now going to be challenged. And there's LC has a few board positions open.
School
UISD school districts.
Municipal court.
Yep. One of our guests is also running for school board in Zapata.
In Zapata County, yeah,
Zapata
Zapata
County
ISD.
So we'll have get his perspective on that when he comes on, and but that's it.
It's going to be
a rough
interesting.
year.
So early voting starts October 18th.
18.
There are some changes apparently to some of the election
Some of the
sites.
polling sites? Mhm.
I know that the county was going to take up whether or not they're going to be voting at the Laredo Medical Center.
Clear Choice or the medical center.
The medical center, from what I understand. And so, there may be some changes. Just keep an eye out. But if you haven't registered to vote, please go out and register to vote. Do it early so your voice can be heard. You can't complain.
Yeah.
You can't come and say, how things are not going well and how Laredo sucks if you don't go out and vote. You need to have a voice.
Yeah, I'm going to go one step further because I know that's one of my criticisms of both parties here locally, both party chairs. Getting people to register the vote is not enough. That's like signing up to go RSVPing to go to the dance, and you don't go to the dance. Now, come on, go out and vote. you can't complain. I see the number of comments that come on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, yet the number of people who actually voice that opinion with their ballot shrinks.
Yeah.
So if you figure we have in a Democratic primary, I'm not sure the Republicans are a lot less, but if we have 100,000 registered voters, we have more, and you only get a consistent 30,000 votes, the minority is basically ruling over the
Majority, absolutely.
You know, so that's not an accurate portrayal. That's not an accurate voice. Let's get more people. You know, let's hit 50. Let's hit 60% of our registered voters.
And now,
you're right.
and now it's even easier, right? Now you can go vote
Yeah.
wherever.
I mean,
You don't have to.
absolutely.
You don't have to go.
vote at your precinct.
Yeah,
That's
Absolutely.
a lot easier.
that's a lot
That's a lot
easier
easier.
too.
It's
So
more
I mean,
convenient.
And
there's
all
no
you need is an
excuse.
ID to vote. I mean, everybody's got one of those. I don't know what the big deal is about voter ID. I mean, everybody's got one, so just go out and vote.
We should
they're
go
easy to
live.
get.
They're easy to get. I
Yeah.
mean, you
Three
need one
men-
for everything.
3 Men and a Mic should go live at the Del Mar fire station. So
Maybe we do an exit poll. Maybe we set up our table and do a live interview as we come out.
that'll
Kind of
be
an
something
exit deal right
just
there
to-
at St. Patrick's.
Yeah.
So
That'd be an idea.
you know, the deadline has come and gone, so the candidates are out putting signs already. They're working their campaigns. You know, please let your voices be heard and plan on voting.
On voting.
October 18th starts your early voting, and election day is November 3rd.
November 3rd.
November the 3rd.
November 3rd.
Now it's time to
And-
put your
Money where
foot.
your mouth
Yeah,
is.
money where your mouth is, man.
That's right.
Because
Put your foot in your mouth.
yeah, because no more bringing up problems. Now, if you're bringing up those problems and you're running, you
Solutions.
better have a solution.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree. And I don't know if it's Plato or Marcus Aurelius who said, those who are not interested in politics will soon be governed by fools.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
and we'll be right back after the short message with our guest, Joel Lopez, Coach Loreto Martin, and David Sanchez, the head football coach for Laredo United. We'll be right back.
He'll always be Alexander.
Life is full of great moments, special moments, shared with friends, family, and loved ones. But for some, pain deprives us from fully enjoying these moments. If chronic pain is keeping you from fully enjoying life, there is hope. Hi, I'm Dr. Marta Martinez. At Advanced Spine Pain Solutions, we're dedicated to treating our patients with the most advanced and compassionate care possible. Visit us for an evaluation and let our experienced staff help you get back to living a pain-free life. Life is full of great moments, special moments, shared with friends, family, and loved ones. But for some, pain deprives us from fully enjoying these moments. If chronic pain is keeping you from fully enjoying life, there is hope. Hi, I'm Dr. Marta Martinez. At Advanced Spine Pain Solutions, we're dedicated to treating our patients with the most advanced and compassionate care possible. Visit us for an evaluation and let our experienced staff help you get back to living a pain-free life.
And we're back to 3 Men and a Mic. Your host, Joe Barron, Javier Montemayor, Gene Belmontes, and joining us today, head football coach for Loreto Martin, Joel Lopez. and coach for United Football, the Longhorns, my alma mater, David Sanchez. Welcome aboard, guys. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Long time.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for coming. Thanks
Coach.
For inviting us.
You guys have been at this thing for a long time.
Well, he's been here longer.
He's been and so the topic was, and this is a part 2 topic, the topic was youth sports, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And this is part 2. The very first part that we did, we had Bobby Cruz, the athletic director for United, and Richard Rosas, who's the president of Pony, who's a volunteer for most of what he does. And we got to talk about all the good things that are happening in youth sports at all levels, both, Pee-wee all the way up to high school and beyond.
All sports.
All
I'm sure.
sports as well. And then we talked about, the bad and the ugly. And some of the stuff that came back to us, I mean, 2 of these clips, one on Instagram and one on Facebook, went absolutely viral. We have comments from all over the country about the coaching crisis that y'all are facing. The coaches just don't want to coach anymore, and officials, the lack of officials, or the need to get officials for not just high school, but at all levels. And those are the challenges y'all are facing. And so we wanted to ask you, to sit in with us and just tell us a little bit about your experience, because we really didn't talk a lot about football. We talked about baseball and basketball and volleyball, all the travel teams and the costs that go with that, but we didn't talk a lot about football, because there is a lot of cost, because there's opportunities, the good, that we didn't have before, right, Coach? I mean,
Yeah,
when you and I were growing up, we got a football game on the corner lot, vacant lot we could find.
You're all the same age?
No, he's a little younger than I am. No, he's a little older than I am. But there's Pop Warner, Pee-wee,
Yeah.
NFL flag, USFL flag. I mean, there's all sorts of different levels that kids can now play.
You're talking about coaching, guys that don't want to coach, but yet you've got some guys in the Pop Warner Bay Area that are coaching for free, and we're having a hard time getting guys with stipends and teaching salaries that they don't want to coach. And I wish those guys could be looking to go coach at the high school or middle school level. If they can coach those kids that are 8, 9 years old, man, it would be nice to have, hook some of those guys up at the, if they go to school or something like that.
Or get certificates to do it. Coach, I mean,
Well, there's definitely a difference, though, between coaching Pop Warner and they don't have a boss. They're out there in their own will, and they can do things as they please. And I think that but yeah, we would love to get more coaches involved, and it's just a lot that goes with it. Just the time, and got to have a degree. You got to teach a class. You got to, it's several classes. And obviously some subjects are easier or harder than others, but
but there's certainly more
it's not
opportunity
easy.
now, right? I mean, when we were growing up, like I said, there wasn't all these organized leagues.
Oh no, and I think it's all good. I think it's good for our kids, to be involved and get them going young. And obviously they're producing bigger, faster, and stronger guys.
For sure.
And shoot,
How do you Coach Lopez? I met you when you were at Nixon. I think when we first met, when you were at Alexander, you were at Zapata, you've been at LBJ, you're at Martin now. How has it changed over the years for you as a coach? What do you see different is it the kids?
Well,
Is it the
I don't think
game?
anything has changed. To be honestly, when I left Nixon, we were having some good success. I was telling you earlier that we had close to 300 guys playing football, and the enrollment there was less than 2,100. A lot has to do with how you treat the kids and the coaches. The coaches have to accept their roles. When they come into a coaching field, they need to understand that the bulk of their salary is from their teaching, and they have to be good teachers. When I hooked up with Coach back in those days, I was 27 years old. I was still wet behind the ears when he hired me as a defensive coordinator. And but one of the things that I learned from him is your salary comes from teaching. You got to remember that. Guys like Roy Garcia, AD from Mission. When you listen to guys like that, when you're a young coach, you want to listen to the guys that have been in it. And that's what I did. I wanted to learn from the best. So, one of the things that I learned was, you know. And I was fortunate because when I started teaching, I was in Zapata when I started my coaching career, and I was a teacher aide. You know, I started as a paraprofessional. You know, that only happens when you go back to your hometown, you know, and they hook you up. But they knew that you know, we had a chance to make this guy a good coach. And, you know, I met Coach when he was at Freer, and, you know, saw him at Memorial, and, you know, saw it. And I wanted to be like that. I wanted to be a career coach. I don't want to get into coaching and to be an administrator. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to coach for the rest of my life.
But one of the things that I see, Coach, is that you guys go beyond just coaching, right? Because, I mean, you guys are really molding these kids. And you try to prepare them for what's coming, right? I mean, you try to teach them that life isn't usually a touchdown, right? I mean, you know, so I've seen this because my son was in sports, and some of his friends had a little bit harder than some other ones. But I've seen some coaches take these kids under their wings. Right?
First of all, I think it has to be a passion, you know, that you have for the sport and for the kids, you know. And I just finished telling our parents, you know, our job is to make them a better person. You know, if I can make that kid a better person, it's going to be easier to make him a better football player because he's going to do things right. He's going to listen. He's going to work hard, and you know, those things kind of just fall in place. You know, going back to your question, you know, how much has it changed? I think it has a lot to do with, you know, obviously the head coach and the program that he establishes. You know, the expectations. I think that kids are going to act and do the way you let them. You know, if you run a lax program and you let them get away with, you know, not being disciplined on the team, you know, getting personal fouls and not addressing those things, it's gonna snowball and it's gonna be ugly, you know. But if you run a disciplined program and if you're, you know, disciplining the kids and teaching them, you know, the right things and the good things and the way it should be done, the right way, then I think that it's going to be easy. You know,
Coach, I remember you were at Nixon, you were at Holmes, and I remember you came back to United. And both of you have very successful programs, and I congratulate both of you. The last show we had, where you know, Bobby Cruz was here and Richard, one of the things that they kind of, you know, focused on was how to deal with the parents, the expectations of the parents. You know, because these kids, now they practice year-round. Now they have these travel teams, and maybe not so much in football, but certainly like in volleyball and basketball. You know, they believe that, you know, the talent that exists, the private you know, travel teams, you know, should transfer over to the
public school.
I think that, like Coach was mentioning right now, the head coach, it all starts. The buck stops with you. It starts and stops right here at the helm. And not only do you coach the kids, you coach the coaches, and you coach the administration, and you coach the parents all along. Everything's got to get coached. So when there is disruptive parents and things like that, then you have to deal with it. You can't just look away. You can't just not want to speak to them. Oh, so-and-so is calling, you know. You've got to nip it in the bud, and you've got to say what. And then when you set your expectations, and you that message to the kids has to be, we're doing this because we want to make you a better person. Only 11 kids play. Coach has 60-some guys on the team. Only 11 play on offense and only 11 on defense. There's 40-some kids that are not going to see the field at the varsity level. But to have that many kids, he has said something straight already. They all understand what their roles are in that program. And if you don't set that and put it in front of them, this is where you're at, and this is the way it's going to be. Because when you go out in life, that's the way it is. Everybody wants to be a boss, but not everybody can be. So they have to accept the roles that they're given. And then the younger kids, well, you have to get the coaches to organize themselves to make sure they play. Every time they have a uniform on, they're going to get on the field because parents want to see them on the field.
But Coach, I mean, not to stir the pot, but just the question still remains: what's changed? I mean, because social media has been for all intents and
That's
purposes,
changed.
good and
That
bad.
has
right?
changed.
Yeah, I
Social
agree.
media has,
Has
because
added
a lot of
another wrinkle to it, right?
Well, and if you listen to that kind of stuff, then you're going to get in trouble. I don't listen to that. I really don't. The coaches will go, Coach, did you see this? But I don't. I got to ask my daughter, how do you post something? I want to do something like that, but you know, I really don't pay attention.
But it's added a
I
wrinkle.
just
has
think
it
it's
not?
gotten a lot softer, you know, the parents have gotten softer, the kids have gotten a little softer, and everything is real delicate, you know. You gotta,
good way to look at it,
yeah, I
yeah.
mean, that's the best way to put it. You gotta be careful what you say now, and, you know, I can't go and grab somebody by the face mask and freaking get in his face and, you know, get after him or do some of the conditioning or discipline things that we used to do in the days. Like if I do that now, it's like, you're gonna kill my kid, you know, and then,
When we were having a discussion about you coming on, we talked about Coach Vasquez and some of our coaches from then. You know, turn their ring upside down and hit you on the top of the helmet, or they grab you by the face mask.
They had a paddles.
They had paddles.
Oh,
What was
yeah.
his favorite? His favorite phrase was to call you a mullet. And what was a mullet?
a useless fish.
A useless fish. And he'd call you a
And-
mullet. You can't do that today.
Could you imagine
some
that
things have
meeting?
changed.
Like, oh man, you,
Yeah.
No such
you,
thing as hurt feelings, you know.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and I know that those things
you
happen. and
ruined
they-
his
I was
spirit.
fortunate enough to be, when I played high school football, I was fortunate enough to be under guys like Robert Hine and Zapata and Jaime Escobar and Leo Martinez. Like those guys, you know, I never heard them cuss, not one time. So it was pretty awesome, you know. And my philosophy when I start coaching with my staff, I don't allow any of that. You know, I don't allow the kids to do it, so I'm not going to allow the coaches to do it. And I'm a firm believer in that. So, you know, like I said, grew up around those guys, so I just want to be like them, and
Yeah.
that's what I do. You know?
Good, and they're good models. I mean, I've often said, and we were talking about it earlier, you know, I still have a coach who's probably approaching 80, and every time I see him, I still call him coach to this day because he had such an impact
So,
on my
but
life.
it helps. It helps it helps to be good to the kids. You know, you can discipline some way or other. You know, I discipline that guys. If they don't show up to practice, they got things to do. If they're late, they got things to do. If they don't show up a couple of times in the week, they're not playing. You know, so those things they know. We don't. I'm not going to look away if our starting running back missed on Monday and here comes Friday and he's on the field. That's not going to happen. He's going to be on the bench by me until I say he can go in. So those are things that I know that's leverage. We have leverage on them, and that's discipline. So do what you're supposed to do and be where you're supposed to be.
Coach,
yeah, be where your feet are. No, I had a parents meeting tonight. I told you I might be a little bit late, and all those exhortations and all those rules were explained to them, and they know, you know.
Yeah,
and
that's the thing right
that's,
but
that's,
you mentioned
that's the
something,
standard.
Coach, that I think is very telling, and you'll remember this because you know we went to the same high school, we had some of the same administrators, same principals. Leverage. A teacher could go to the coach and say, so and so has been just screwing up in our class, it's been disruptive, and the coach would walk in and just say, "Need to visit with
It's
you,"
over.
and it was over.
Yeah,
Yeah, and with basketball,
That
baseball,
still
football,
goes on.
that still goes on.
That
which is
still
great.
goes on.
I mean, I think that's
Like if I get an email on one of my kids, they're gonna run every day after practice until I get an email back from the teacher saying that he's
That's right.
doing well.
it's all good.
Well, you know, when I was in high school and middle school, actually, freshman, they'd sit us on the bleachers at Kruger Field. They'd line up all the freshmen. You know, you had the Quirogas and Scott Wilkinson and you know, and they'd all line us all the team.
All troublemakers.
And everybody had their progress report. And so Montemayor, you know, you go down, you know, you went from a B to a C. That's two SWATs run a mile. Everybody on the team, and of course you had the overachievers who didn't get any. But
They
you know,
get
there was
SWATs or miles.
that was just a lot of the coaches would handle the discipline as well.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the
For the
students
classroom.
were afraid.
For the
They were
classroom.
afraid of
Oh,
their
no
coaches,
doubt.
you know.
We
Well,
still
but
do it.
there's a line to draw also, because there are times I've been at schools, they say, hey, coach, so-and-so did this in class, whatever. He goes, but we want you to handle it. I said, what do you mean? Well, he goes, well, go in and discipline, that way he doesn't miss. I said, wait a minute, what would you do to the normal child that's not in sports? Well, he's gonna get suspended. We'll suspend this guy. suspend him first, and I'll deal with him when he gets back. But I'm not going to get any special treatment for this guy because I don't want them to act that way.
Right.
You know, so you have to also draw that line because a lot of administrators say, Coach, so-and-so did this, but you handled, they're not special when it comes, they're special because they're doing extra, but not in violation of student code of conduct.
They got to follow all the rules.
That's right.
And in addition to your rules.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
In addition to that, that's right. And I emphasize it to the kids is you're the elite in this campus, so you need to act that way.
Well, that's some of the good. I think that's still within the realm of the good of sports, right? Here's some of the bad. The cost of sports has gone through the roof. We talked about the cost of a helmet, the cost of the gear, the cost of travel. All of that's going through the roof. How are you all as head coaches having to deal with, you know, school board members who have tight budgets and ADs who have other sports that they have to govern as well? I mean, how do you guys do this? I mean, in the age of declining budgets.
Well, we leave it up to the CFO, and they're going to tell us what numbers we got, and that's all we got to go with.
Yeah, I mean, that's all.
We don't have decision making in that sense.
I mean, there's obviously you've got your Booster Club people that help you raise money, and there's different ways to try to get around some of that stuff. Our Booster Club has purchased many helmets and many shoulder pads because the funds aren't there, and you know, those are just things that you grow up with and you deal with, and you know, we're talking about, you know, traveling in regular school buses now.
Are you going to drive one of the buses?
Huh?
Are you going to drive one of the buses?
No, I'm not. I have, and I did, you know, growing up. You know, I remember,
absolutely.
you know, driving buses.
Did
and,
everything they could.
you know,
They had
going to
to,
the bus barn, pick up a bus, and drive the kids to the game, and then come back. And that was tough, you know. But yeah, I mean, you just kind of, you know, adjust with the times, and obviously you can do what we can with what you got, and otherwise you find ways.
That's
you
all
know?
you can do. I mean,
Yeah.
and you got to trust the administration and guys at the head office. And, you know, you do what you do.
But does the limit on travel affect your ability to find competitive teams to play against? I mean, I know that you both
We haven't
relish
had,
the challenge.
I don't think we've had limits on that. Other schools have had limits on playing us.
We haven't gotten into that yet, and I hope we don't. But yeah, it would definitely make a difference. You know, the further north you go, the faster and bigger they get, and you know, the tougher the opponent is. You know, you go from San Antonio to Austin to Houston to Dallas. You know, look at our state champs. You know, they're coming from those big cities, and
I think
you know,
we'll always do our best, or at least I am going to do my best to scrimmage guys from town, play guys here in town, you know, so that we don't have to travel and help out the school with the budget. I think Martin was playing Eagle Pass for a scrimmage. Well, I'm not going to go to Eagle Pass for a scrimmage. I mean, it's not conducive to what we need to do. So I asked one of the guys at United to play it. Alexander was gracious enough to do it. So we'll do it. And in a couple of years, if we can play those guys, you know, regular season games, we'd like to do it.
You know, going back to your question, you know, will it make a difference? I go back to, you know, when we started at Nixon, you know, my thing was, man, we got to play teams from San Antonio. Yeah. And I think that evolved and brought the Laredo programs and, you know, South Texas programs to a higher standard, you know.
Level. Yeah.
We went and played Judson, you know, and I remember people say, what's wrong with you? Are you crazy? It's like, hey, we want to get to that level, and we're not ever going to get there unless we play those type of teams, you know, and, you know. We beat Judson this year. Now, you know, that was pretty cool.
That's right.
You know, so, you know, and we've beat some of the Reagan teams and some of the other San Antonio teams, and you know, we've gotten to that level. You know, so yeah, I think it would make a big difference if we couldn't do those things.
Yes, no doubt. And you know, coming on with Coach back in '93 when we got together at Nixon, I think more than anything, what I learned a lot from Coach was that there's no limit. You can't set limits. You know, you can't say things like, no, we can't play those guys. But no, we can't do that. You know, when he left Nixon, I took over, and we had Judson on our schedule. I'm going like, okay, here we go. You know, and some of the comments I would get, yeah, but the one thing you have to remember is for the kids not to get hurt. Well, shoot, one of the Judson kids got hurt with one of our guys. I said, well, what happened to that? So they're still high school kids. They're going to be faster, and we have to find a way to win. We got to find a way.
That's a good
So
attitude.
the fact that we did that, and coach, we wanted to get better as coaches, and so I went to countless clinics with coach that I had never been to, and he was always trying to get our us to be. It was me and Coach Manny Valles were coordinators. We were both 27 years old, That was our first coordinatorships, and what he said we were going to do, and man, it was just it was an awesome 5 years for me there, and I'll never forget that. Every time I win a championship or go to the playoffs, I'll call coach and thank him for it, because he stepped it up. Little guy from Zapata, that he put his trust in a defense. It's pretty remarkable.
Well, speaking of budgets, we're going to take a quick break to thank our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
Life is full of great moments, special moments, shared with friends, family, and loved ones. But for some, pain deprives us from fully enjoying these moments. If chronic pain is keeping you from fully enjoying life, there is hope. Hi, I'm Dr. Marta Martinez. At Advanced Spine Pain Solutions, we're dedicated to treating our patients with the most advanced and compassionate care possible. Visit us for an evaluation and let our experienced staff help you get back to living a pain-free life. Life is full of great moments, special moments, shared with friends, family, and loved ones. But for some, pain deprives us from fully enjoying these moments. If chronic pain is keeping you from fully enjoying life, there is hope. Hi, I'm Dr. Marta Martinez. At Advanced Spine Pain Solutions, we're dedicated to treating our patients with the most advanced and compassionate care possible. Visit us for an evaluation and let our experienced staff help you get back to living a pain-free life.
In discussion during the break here, but 3 men and a mic, Joe Barron, Javier Montemayor, Gene Belmontes, Coach David Sanchez, Coach Joel Lopez, and we wanted to talk a little bit about the ugly side of sports. In our last episode, on part 1 of this, what made, I think, the clip go viral was that discussion about what's happening to the coaches in the state, the coaching crisis, the lack of coaches, those that have said, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. I've reached my limit. Some are leaving early. Some who were stalwarts have finally decided this is it. Officials not wanting to officiate anymore. And there were some comments that came through. Our producer can put some comments up on there. Let's read a couple of them that came in. It says, I was a major athletic director at a major high school in Colorado for 14 years. I loved the job except for one thing, and that, of course, was the parents. It would be a great job at an orphanage. That's an indictment of a lot of parents and what happens. What's another good clip there? There we go. Somebody we might know. Coach at the city of FAR for 12 years, and put up with the parents and kids from traveling teams. my kids won in football and basketball, but the parents, it wasn't enough. And I think that that's happening a lot. We're seeing comments like that. I mean, this thing had almost 800 total comments.
I just completed my doctorate at the University of Sioux Falls and wrote my dissertation on the South Dakota high school coaching environment. Specifically analyzed retention and burnout in coaches. Great to hear conversations about how we can help our coaches and athletes. So,
What else we got there? Parents are why I bailed out years ago. I didn't coach football or hoops. Admin was fine because there was no threat of litigation. They liked that. Pay was what it was. Top performers each week started. Parents, so many delusions and unrealistic expectations. So there you go. I mean, that's some of the stuff that we were reading, and we read every single one of our comments, responded to all of them as a show, and they were out there. And that was the top issue was parents. And Bobby Cruz said it in the clip. He said, a distant third was pay. You guys don't do it for the pay. You do it for the passion, like you said. You guys do it because you love doing this. The second one was time away from family. And you guys, film, scouting, off season, all that you do right now.
I'll tell you this, that the electronics has really helped us with time. That's for sure. We don't spend as much time, in football as we used to. However, UIL has opened the floodgates for allowing coaches to coach the kids in the summertime, because now if the next guy's doing it, well, I need to do it. So now I'm asking coaches that aren't getting paid stipends for year-round, they're getting stipends for the season or at least the school year. And now we're like, well, we got to coach these kids up now.
There's no doubt.
That's
You can't slack off because, like you said, if we're not doing it and they're doing it next door, we're getting behind.
Sure.
So we're asking our coaches to come up in the summer and at least spend 3 hours with the kids, and so man, it's
What time
just
you could be spending on vacation with your kids?
I wasn't very pleased about this UIL thing. I was like, man, like an hour, maybe an hour and a half total would be okay, but 3 hours.
Yeah, there's one thing that I've always felt guilty about is the amount of time I spent with my kids when they were young. I was starting my career, and obviously, as competitive as I am and invested as I am, I spend a lot of time away from home. And it was, finally when I got to coach them, and we really, got close. Not that, I wasn't close with my kids, but man, it was tough. It's hard.
And Joe will attest. A lot of the comments were about the liquor behind you. He's like, well, half the coaches need it because it's just driving them nuts. But the reality was, of all the comments, the number one comment on why coaches and officials are veering away from athletics, both in the volunteer side and on the paid side, was parents. And has that really changed? You had your coach meeting tonight.
Yeah, I talked about parents. A parent wants his kid and the next best to be out on the field, and that's just the way it is. But obviously, I address the parents about you got to trust us. We're there with the kids every day, and we're going to put the best players out there. Now in our sub-varsity teams, they're going to get the playing time and this and that. But you got to trust us with your kids, and they got to understand their roles. And obviously, some kids are more talented than others, and as a coach, you got to win, or else there's not going to be food on the table. We're going to be looking for another job.
Sure.
So I hope that they understand some of those things. But the other problem is just parents are just so much vocal. They can get behind a computer and say whatever they want. It's real easy. But they don't ever come to the office and say, "Hey, come talk to me." We can talk man to man.
On social media because you're not on, but your kids see it. Your
yeah,
players
they'll call
see
me and say it. And they'll say, "Dad, did you see this or that, the other?" And my kids are very involved, with my career and stuff because, like David, they grew up around it, So, there's no doubt they'll tell me about. Did you see this? Or they'll flash me a picture of it, and I go, "Well, don't pay attention to it," Not only that, the coaches that, I don't know, the coaches that are saying, "Well, I don't want to coach because of the parents." Man, I don't know about that. My family was in the stands when the parents were shouting bloody things at us. That's tough, but they never missed a game, so, coaches need to understand that it's part of it. We're gonna get there. I mean, we're gonna look. We're taking care of their children. We're not only teaching them football. Football, to me, the X's and O's is about 10% of our job. Probably coach can do it in his sleep. It's all the rest of the stuff. The preparing parents for the season, preparing the kids for life. That's what we do. We prepare them to be good people in life. And if they can't handle that, if they're worried about playing and all that, well, they're going to have a hard time. One of the things I tell the kids, and I got this quote from Nick Saban, is like, if you think that life is going to be easy, you're going to be a disappointed person all your life. Yeah. You have to expect life to be hard, because life is hard. Yeah. And there's going to be ups and downs, just like there is over there. It could be, what you expected didn't happen. The position that you expected in life didn't happen. Whatever it may be, but you're going to have obstacles in your life, and that's what football teaches us. That's what athletics teaches us, and we have to go in with that, and we have to teach our parents those things, and if you do that, you're going to be okay, because you're doing the best you can. Now, if you're treating kids badly, you're going to get parents on you, and period. That's the way it's going to be.
No matter where it is.
You guys are talking about parents. I don't think that we've ever had
I taught my wife well. I told her, look, you sit on the top row, and you don't listen to any of that stuff. And if you do hear something, don't come and tell me. I don't want to know. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. Because everybody.
They take it personally, man.
Yeah, I mean,
because we're going to continue coaching the way we coach. Nothing's going to change.
But Joe's a basketball guy,
well, that's a
different
different animal.
My hat's off. My hat's off.
And that's what I was going to say, because you guys are out on the field, and there's so much. There's a band playing, there's the game roaring, all that's happening. It's hard to hear that chirper up in the stands.
Not on JV games, though.
But on a basketball court, right?
Oh, yeah.
The coach hears it, the players hear it, the dad's coaching the kid, hey, you're in the wrong position, the coach is looking at the dad.
Basketball.
I was a head basketball coach for several years, and it's a different animal. You can hear everything,
and especially,
and they can hear you,
especially in Laredo, because
that's the most important.
Because in Laredo you have so much of these travel teams.
Oh, the travel teams.
They play year round. They're those parents invest $50,000-$60,000 on the kid to play and practice year round.
It's just like baseball. Like everybody's dad was a baseball coach, and they all started with a Pee Wee League and T-ball and coach pitch and and they think they know the game, and.
Well, and on top of that, Coach, you add the fact that and it doesn't happen so much in football. Albeit you do have, now you have Pop Warner and Bay FM.
We haven't gotten there yet.
You haven't got there,
it's
but
coming.
Yeah. Right? Where a parent spends 5-6 years of traveling with their kid, paying for all of the gear, all of the games, all of the expenses. They show up at your doorstep as a freshman or as a sophomore, and they say, "Why is my kid not starting? I put $50,000 into this kid so he can go to D1 school, and you're not even playing him."
Yeah.
They put their kid in these leagues for the wrong reasons. It was to teach them fundamentals and teach them about life. Technique. As a parent, it's not, son, you're going to be a D1 player. Son, you're going to be a D1 player. It's not about that, because and sometimes the parents say, my son is ranked number so-and-so in the nation. I'm going, where did they get that?
Perfect game.
So what? Well, I don't know, but
look at the letter that my kid got from his camp. Look at all these great things that he had, all these athletes.
And all those camps are money.
It's like, they want you to go back next year and give them another $500 or $600.
Yeah, for sure.
Bobby Cruz made an interesting comment. He said, "Yeah, of course your kid's number one. Your check cleared."
There you go.
Yeah. So recently, as a board member, you get to hear a lot of the stories. There's security guards and police officers that right after the volleyball game or after the basketball game, specifically those games, they go into the middle of the court and one bench clears one way and the other bench clears the other way, because the parents have gotten to where they are very vocal now and very disrespectful sometimes. There was a middle school game, I want to say one of the South schools, where the administrators now can remove parents, just because they're being disrespectful. They can remove parents. There was one game that was played where there were no parents in the stands. She removed everybody and that game was played with nobody
That's
in the
what it
stands.
takes.
The officials can do that
Yeah,
at
officials
any
can do that at
time.
any point.
Yeah.
Which my hat's off to her, but sometimes that's the it gets to the point where it's disrespectful, and they're calling out the coaches, they're calling out the officials, and so that's I think at the end of the day
That's the lesson they got to learn, because
And you have to be
if it doesn't
proactive.
change, if it doesn't
Like that
change,
principle's proactive.
you're not going to get to see your kid play, and you would think that would hurt them.
And then a lot of things happen because when you start playing ball at that age, right, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, I mean, that kid isn't developed until middle school, right? All of a sudden, you had a kid that was a little shorter, a little slower,
Well,
and then they get to freshmen and they're six some.
The other thing is this, Joe, that I know that I see it with the baseball and basketball especially, is that they're in high school now. Down there, they were playing with probably like 40 teams. But in high school, there was only one.
Yeah.
But he started since he was 5 years old. But there was like 40 or 50 teams. Now there's only one team. There's only 5 positions to fill. And,
And every kid's a super.
and they might get cut. They might get cut because they only need 15 guys, or 15 girls. They might get cut. And that's very disheartening to them because they played since they were in second grade or whatever.
in 10th grade.
But
He's
the
always
fact
been
of
a
the matter
starter.
is,
It's like,
that's, and man, my heart goes out to them and all, but, there's nothing else I can say. It's the coach's decision. The only opinion that counts here is the head coach, and we hired her or we hired him. And, if they don't do well, they lose their job.
On that, I used to get calls, from parents. Hey, and middle school parents or sub-varsity parents. My son, or my grandson needs to play quarterback. You need to give him the opportunity. So I'm not the coach. Yeah, but you could call him, you could tell him, and but I used to have another one that would call me and says, I want my daughter to be the starting setter. You need to talk to the coach for me. And I called Coach Cruz. Hey, Coach. I was brand new to the district, and Coach, what's up? Stay out of it. This is a coach's decision. The coaches are the ones who make the decision that is the best for their team, and that was the rule, and that's been the rule.
And you know what? We could almost disagree with our head coach, and think that maybe another kid should be playing, but
Not your call.
it's not my call,
It's the.
And I don't even coach basketball, I can think that they're better, but I don't know what goes on in practice.
There you
I don't know
go.
what goes on
There you go.
anywhere.
He sees them every day.
Yeah.
It's
And then
2
Coach,
hours a day, through drills and practices. And,
Athletic period.
and there's other things that go
Yeah.
into it other than just
Attitudes
talent.
and-
His attitude, his
That's what I was about to ask.
his
Yeah.
teamwork, his
But
leadership
it's
qualities.
the Bill Parcells School of Coaching. If you have my expectation that I'm going to cook dinner, you got to let me get the groceries.
That's right.
That's how he said it. So I agree.
Yeah.
so you've been at it how long, Coach?
46 years.
Coach?
37. This is my 37.
So with all of that, how many kids come up to you after they've graduated? How many kids come up with you and say, "Hey, Coach, this is my son, man"? Or how many kids have you coached that now you're coaching your kids?
Well, there's been quite a few.
Yeah.
Quite a few.
But that
kids
must be so rewarding,
It's
though,
awesome.
right?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
It's
That's
awesome.
the best part.
When they go out of their way to come see you and say hello and just thank you, man. I appreciate you, Coach. Maybe I didn't understand. I know that, maybe I was a pain in the butt or, but the lessons that you taught me have, made a difference in my life. Now I'm a boss. Now I'm running a business or I'm manager, and I see where you were coming from.
Yeah.
The importance of being on time and doing things right and being respectful and, having those skills to communicate with people is like, it's very rewarding.
That's why I say hi to Coach Agustin Ballesteros every chance I get.
Oh,
Every time I see Augie,
who wouldn't say hi to that man? I love that man.
I mean, the way he treated me, I mean, he made me earn my position, made me earn my way onto the team after I had been a discipline case.
Yeah.
To let me back on. And since then, every time I've ever done anything, I always go and say, Coach, thank you for what you did for me. And you know,
Exactly.
to the point when I got elected to the city council, he was one of my strongest supporters. Because he'd come back and say, I knew you had it in you. You just had to believe in yourself a little more.
And as a coach, you have to admire. You know, we talked about the 60 guys he has. We have 41 guys on the varsity team today, and only 11 play on both sides of the ball. And you have to admire the kids that stay with it.
Yeah.
They stay with it. They don't get the chance to go in. So you've got to spend time with them. And eventually, 15, 20 years later, they come and say, hey, Coach, I know you don't remember me, you know, and sometimes you don't. And you say, give me a name, man, give me a name, you know, and they give you that name. I say, now I know who you are. Newfie, I know it's you, or Roofy, you know, or, you know, Johnny, or whatever, you know, you remember them. And I'm going to tell them again, I always admired that you stayed with it, you know.
Yeah.
And I knew that you would be a success in your life because you never quit. You know,
I talked to
those
my
are awesome.
parents today about it and told them that. I mean, we've got 61 kids on the varsity roster, and I said they're not all going to get to play, but they all want to be there.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
because you know they've
It's
got
esprit de
teammates.
corps.
There's love, the camaraderie, the
Esprit de corps.
discipline
The
that they're
journey.
getting. You
Yeah.
know, those life skills will be there forever. You know, and you've got to be able to support them and just understand that, hey, your son is having fun, or else he wouldn't be there.
That's right.
Because it's hard, and it's brutal, and it's hard not to get a chance to get in there and play. But I've got kids that say, hey, Coach, can I go run the ball in the scout team over there? I want to try to, give them a better picture. And it's like, wow, that's awesome,
Yeah.
and everybody's got a role, So.
And those are the attitudes that the parents need to have on these travel teams and all that, is that what is your philosophy behind getting your kid to play on this? Really, what is it all about? Start asking yourself these questions and be truthful to yourself.
Yeah.
You know.
In all reality, those kids that stay with it and don't get to play are going to be that much stronger, and they're probably going to be, extremely successful in life because they fought through that and they lived it, and, they learned those skills, and, they don't quit, don't quit.
And on that particular note, I was watching TV last night, and I think we were talking about Tommy Ramirez, who just got recognized with some reward, and some award, and he said the same thing. And he says, it's awesome. It's an awesome feeling when your former athletes come up to you and they're grown up and they're successful now, and just all the skills that were taught, that's the awesome feeling about
Yes. Yes.
And like I tell the kids, these guys in this room right now, you'll never forget them. They'll be your friends for life because of what you've gone through and the work that you've done, and the commitment that you gave to each other.
Yeah.
So you're going to remember every single one of these kids.
It's a great speech that Shiaz Pete just gave, the first Navajo to
Oh,
join
I
us.
saw
I
that.
saw that.
Where he
yeah.
said that, the star of this team makes us family.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That's right.
Well, guys, thanks for sticking with us and join us on the show. We have a last bite segment. At the end of every show, we talk about one of our favorite things, and that's food. So after this commercial, we'll be back for the last bite.
Life is full of great moments, special moments, shared with friends, family, and loved ones. But for some, pain deprives us from fully enjoying these moments. If chronic pain is keeping you from fully enjoying life, there is hope. Hi, I'm Dr. Marta Martinez. At Advanced Spine Pain Solutions, we're dedicated to treating our patients with the most advanced and compassionate care possible. Visit us for an evaluation and let our experienced staff help you get back to living a pain-free life. Life is full of great moments, special moments, shared with friends, family, and loved ones. But for some, pain deprives us from fully enjoying these moments. If chronic pain is keeping you from fully enjoying life, there is hope. Hi, I'm Dr. Marta Martinez. At Advanced Spine Pain Solutions, we're dedicated to treating our patients with the most advanced and compassionate care possible. Visit us for an evaluation and let our experienced staff help you get back to living a pain-free life.
And we're back to the last bite, the segment that we all enjoy the most because we're always talking about food. When we started the program, Javi and Joe and I would argue about something, we'd go get something to eat. We'd talk about food. The first episode was about baked potatoes.
The shiny side of the foil or the dull side of the foil?
How do you wrap a baked potato before you cook it?
You know, I know it's insignificant, but that actually got a lot of
I
attention.
think
Got a
it's
lot
the
of
dull
traction.
side out. No?
Somebody said it was the shiny side out. The argument was that it was shiny side out.
Whatever side I tear off.
Yeah, that's however you wrap
The
it.
same way.
How does it come in the box? I don't know.
Well, you can.
It
As
could
long as
be
it's loaded, we're all right.
And then the second half of that question was, does it require sour cream to be a loaded baked potato?
Oh no.
In Idaho, you'd be charged with a crime for not putting sour cream.
No,
on.
I'm not
I
a
think
sour
it's
cream
sour
guy.
cream and butter all the way.
Yeah,
Yeah, a little bit of
there you
everything.
go.
I'm a butter, cheese, and bacon.
And so the big question for us this week is wings. Where's the best place to get wings?
Z-Wings and Zapata.
Z wings.
What's
Really?
What's
What,
the deal?
what's the deal with the wings at Zapata?
They're awesome, and their dressing is really good.
You guys do weird stuff at Zapata anyways.
No,
You got
no,
oh, come on, Paraíso, you guys have chicken fried steak with gravy and cheese.
Cheese,
I don't
yeah.
know about that.
But those are good. But it's good.
But it's
Cheese and gravy-
delicious,
cheese
but
and
it's
gravy
good.
is the thing. Steakhouse and Paraíso, cheese
Yeah?
and gravy.
That's what
Oh,
he
yeah.
talks about.
And the other one is Rincón de los Ángeles.
Yeah.
They're all that same family.
They're all the same family.
Same,
No?
same family.
No, no.
Wings, Coach? What's the best place to get wings in Laredo?
I wouldn't know.
Hi, Coach. You got to be a wing. I mean, if you watch sports on TV at any point in time,
I go wherever all the other coaches. I follow Coach Luz Leal. He knows where all the best places
all the best
are.
places are. Joe,
I like Wingstop.
Wingstop.
I mean, can't go wrong with Wingstop. Their ranch is delicious.
Javi?
You know, I like the wings from Cosmos. Those wings have been good. The country club also. I've tasted the wings from there. They have this orange pepper, spice that they put on them. It's very good as well.
Really?
It's very good.
Playmore. For me, it's Playmore. Playmore has a good wing. They just do. And I've gone. I mean, I like
Any
wings.
certain kind of wing? I mean,
Lemon pepper.
For me, the lemon
I'm a
pepper.
lemon
Lemon
pepper
pepper.
Pretty
guy.
good. Yeah,
Peppers.
me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that and buffalo for me. I mean, I don't want it too hot where I just can't enjoy it, but
Yeah.
I
It's gotta be
will say
spicy.
this, man. People, I know that there's disagreements, but I really did like the wings from Hooters. And I would go there for the wings.
right,
It was true, man. I really did like the wings.
right. I said,
You're
No
trying
matter
to,
what
That's-
you're
that's
trying to
like
make
going
some
to Tilted
points
Kilt.
with your wife or what? You
that's
know?
like going to the Tilted Kilt for the fries. That's what
Yeah,
Joe goes to Tilted Kilt for the fries. Yeah.
the wings are good. The wings were good.
But we got a new
Yeah.
kid in town, right?
Yeah.
He's cooking them
Yeah,
up right.
yeah. So this guy is on Shiloh, and it's called Wicked Wings.
Wicked Wings.
Yeah, it's kind of close to that seafood place on Shiloh,
I know what you're talking about.
Paraíso or something like that, right? No, I don't remember the seafood, but anyway, this guy is a young kid.
Pescador.
Pescador.
Pescador, yeah, it's close to that. But this guy is a young kid, has a real nice little shop. He cooks. He's the owner. He's an artist. Has some artwork that he does.
Please.
He messes around with 3D imaging, so he has a lot of little Spider-Mans he gives out to kids and stuff. So it's a very nice place,
Outstanding.
and they're actually very good.
All right, well, we're going to try those.
So
in
that's
just a
where
sec.
this is from?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What
so
was
we're
the
gonna
name
try
again?
that.
Wicked
Wings.
Wicked Wings. Yeah.
So
Can
shout
you
out to-
imagine how hard it is to open your little business like that and and try to make it?
It takes a lot of guts.
Takes a lot of
Wow.
guts. I'm
Yes.
talking about stick to it,
That's
right?
right.
Restaurant owners
That's
are
right.
had
Oh,
to be
that's-
football players in previous life because
Yeah,
you got to stick to it. It's rough.
You better stay
Yeah.
with it because you ain't
Yeah.
gonna see the plus sign anywhere.
Yeah, it takes a while just to get out there and get known. And,
Well, hats off to our guy at Wicked Wings. Yeah, thank you for
Orange
the
tamarindo from El Capataz. Oh.
really orange tamarindo bacon from El Capataz.
Yeah, those are good
There you
too.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bacon wrapped wings at Hooters were my favorite.
Bacon wrap wing.
Wow.
That's a heart attack in the making, I'm sure.
I've never even heard of
Dr.
that.
Cigarro is probably calling me right now, so you better not get those wings anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
gentlemen, I want to tell you guys both that I wish y'all successful seasons. Each of you, hopefully you guys get it done. I'm sure you will. So thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
guys.
you guys
Thank you,
for
guys.
having us.
No,
Thank you.
our pleasure. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. This was part 2 of youth sports, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we turned the ugly into something good. We talked about what sports can do for these young men and ladies that are student athletes. And so we thank you all for joining us, and we hope you join us for our next episode 2 weeks from now. Probably something a little more on the paranormal side. We still need to go to Eberville and see if there's any ghosts at the monastery.
I thought we were going to do a little bit of politics.
We're gonna do that too, but that's scary. I mean, that's,
Here we go.
That's paranormal right there.
Paranormal.
Yeah.
oh, by the way,
It'd be
if you're in
scarier than that
Zapata,
haunted house you're talking about.
if you're in Zapata and you're watching this show, Coach Lopez is running for the school board at Zapata County.
That's
Appreciate your support for Coach. We need good men like him on these school boards, especially right now with the trying times in education. So if you're in Zapata, vote for our friend here, Coach Lopez.
No
Thank you.
doubt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us.